Fridays. So it's Janette here from Case Flower School, and we have Deirdre behind camera, and we have Sinead online, and obviously we're going to have all our little secretaries helping us for any tagging that has to be done or any links that you need. So big welcome to everybody, and this morning's class is going to teach you how to make a spring door wreath. So something really simple, and all the materials that I'm using are sourced from my own garden. So all the photos, I have to rephrase that. All the material is sourced from Deirdre's garden. So this morning she went out with her black sack and she literally cut a little bit of everything. So I'll show you how I make these bunches. But like, I've little bits of ivy, I have escallonia, I have viburnum, I have box, I have some rosemary. So literally, the only things we're missing here is eucalyptus, because always here at the school we use eucalyptus,
I couldn't reach it,
pittosporum and silver Sussex. So I'm using everything but them three. So maybe anybody that's interested in growing kind of foliages in your garden, and them few that I've just called out. So wild ivy, you don't even have to grow that, that grows on its own. And the viburnum is fabulous because it actually has a little flower on it, you see at the moment. The escallonia, she has hebe, she has box, she's little bits of everything. And I'm also going to use some pussy willow. Now she didn't have that grown, and I have that all kind of cut up into little chunks here. So the bunches of pussy willow, you could buy them in your local flower shop, or if you're wholesale and you're buying them in bulk, you'll buy them from Wicklow Foliage Farm. So if somebody is watching there, put the @ sign and Wicklow Foliage Farm, and they'll come up and you can click their link and you can get straight onto them. Again, maybe one of your neighbours has some pussy slip of the tongue, pussy willow kind of growing in the garden.
We don't seem to be live on the Case page at the moment. I'm just wondering
bit of a
what's
slow.
going
Don't
on.
worry.
Yeah, but you can keep going. I'm going to just stop it, and I'm going to...
Now, I did come on yesterday live for a couple of minutes, and I explained that we did have some kits for sale. So for anybody, and loads of you messaged me last night, and all them kits are going out in the post today. Lots of you ordered them yesterday after I went live, and they all went in the post yesterday already. So these are the kits that you need for making the door wreath that I'm going to make today. And along with that, all you need is either a little bit of moss, okay? So we have some moss here. What county will I smell it? Wexford, is it?
I'd say it could be Wexford.
Wexford, in down around Wicklow, Wexford, this moss is from. You know by the smell of it, okay? Money slagging. So a little bit of moss is what you can use, or you can use straw. So if we have any good farmer cultures watching here, you will be able to use straw as your base.
Okay,
now,
you're live on Facebook now.
Okay, big welcome to Facebook. Sorry there was a little bit of a glitch at the beginning. But you haven't missed too much, you're grand. You missed me saying pissy instead of pussy, but other than that, you missed nothing. So I'm just explaining about the kits that you will need for making these spring door wreaths. And what I'll do is I'll get Sinead to put it in the link, okay? Just in case it doesn't turn up on Instagram, will she be able to put it in the link on Instagram? Just drop us an email. It's probably the handiest. Drop us an email, info@flowerschoolireland.com, and then we can just send you back the link, okay? But on Facebook, she'll put the link in the comments, and you can order one of these and they'll be sent out to you. So all that you need yourself then is the greenery. So just for our Facebook users, the greenery that I'm using is all from Deirdre's garden. A bit of rosemary, a bit of euonymus, a bit of ivy, a bit of box, a bit of viburnum. Like, we're using everything except eucalyptus, pittosporum and silver Sussex, which I always seem to use. Now, included in the kit that I'll post out to you will be 3 of these wire frames. I'm going to use 2 of them today, okay? Because I'm going to do a double kind of door wreath, just to make it a little bit different, a little bit special. But listen, you could make 3 individual ones, you know, the way, if you prefer. So you'll have enough to make 3 of the wreaths, okay? Included in the kit will also be the roll of real wire. So for mossing up your frame, and I have them mossed already, but I'm going to start one. And what Sinead is going to do, Sinead is our virtual assistant. She's going to put a link in the comments, because some of you follow me all the time. We have our regulars who follow us all the time, and you probably know how to moss a frame, okay? But for any of the newbies that's watching, actually we never got people to introduce themselves.
No.
So obviously if you're watching here, introduce yourself. Let us know where you're watching in from. Obviously if you're outside kind of like Ireland and the UK, let us know what time of the day it is in America, Trinidad, Africa, New Zealand, Australia, wherever you happen to be watching in from, because we're just a little bit nosy. And obviously we love to know what the weather is like. So it's a beautiful morning here in Dublin, I have to say. Sun is shining. It's actually not too cold. You can see we're in the short sleeves. and for once it's not raining. So the weather is not shite, okay? So back to the moss, there is a video, Sinead will put the link in the comments there, how to moss up a frame. It's a free video that we have on YouTube. But I did mention, if anybody is not able to get moss, you can use straw instead. And again, Sinead is going to put another link in the comments now, showing you how to moss up, as we call it, but using straw instead. And normally the straw I get from a pet shop here in Dublin. So again, any of the Dubs, you'll be able to buy it in a pet shop. Any of the farmers, run out to that field and you'll get loads of straw for yourself. If there's anything you need or anything you're unsure about, just ask in the comments. So even when I go on to making the bows, we have links where we can give you classes on making the bows. I have to keep this kind of short and sweet here today, because I have a gym session later on, do you know that way? And I have to run home, throw on the tracksuit, and then get up and sweat the bod, as they say. So, to make or moss up your frame, what you do is you get your reel wire, okay? You attach it onto the frame, so just by hooking the wire through, and then give it just 1 or 2 or 3 twists, you see, of the reel wire. And then that's it there, you see, cut onto the frame's cut onto the reel wire for you. And then you can get your moss. Now I have to say, this is gorgeous moss, isn't it, Deirdre?
It is lovely, yeah, in fairness.
I have to say, that was a great shop you went to.
It was a great shop, yeah.
So there's a fabulous shop in Wexford that sells sustainability, environmentally friendly, everything, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Pure green, you know.
Pure green.
Moss. It's a secret location, do you know, that sort of way. And it's only those in the know knows where it is. But you drop us an email and we'll tell you. So what you do is you get your moss and you scrunch it together nice and tight like that. Now, as I said, this moss in this shop was beautiful and green. And to be honest, when they're mossed up frames, they look beautiful as they are. So you get your sausage, as I call it. You know what I mean? You're squeezing it in nice and tight like a fat sausage. And the straw is done exactly the same, by the way, but there will be a video in the links for you to watch, anybody that's unsure. You rest it directly onto your frame. It's easier if you do this flat on the table, do you know that way? But just for the video, I'm going to hold it up. So the idea is that the reel wire kind of gets wrapped around like that, and then pull it fairly tight and leave about 2 centimetres gap and wrap it around again, and then pull it really tight, and then leave about 2 centimetres gap, wrap it around again and pull it. Now it's much easier to do that when it's on the table rather than up in the air. That was just to show you how the moss, you see, gets attached on. And then what you do is you get your next bundle of moss, you know that way, you squeeze that like a fat sausage shape. The end of this sausage overlaps the end of the other sausage and gets squeezed in. And again, I'm just going to hold it up on the air that you can see it. But I'm going to place it back down on the table because it's much easier to throw it in, lift up the frame, pull. Throw it in, lift up the frame, pull. Throw it in, lift up the frame and pull. Now there's a full video how to continue all the way around. And normally what I do, you know, here at the school we have a saying, to be sure, to be feckin' well sure. So when I get around to the beginning, I actually go round again just using the wire, not adding in any extra moss, just using the wire, and it just gives the frame an extra bit of security. So that will be showed in the tutorial in the links below. And when I get to the very, very end, I just cut the wire, and the wire that's left over, I just stick it into the moss frame, and that's your frame mossed up. So obviously we have one in the oven, ding-a-ling-a-ling, and here we go. There's one that I did earlier. Always wanted to say that. They used to say that on Blue Peter. We have one in the oven. So there's our frame, and as you can see, it's absolutely beautiful. The moss is fabulous. And wouldn't they even be nice just on their own? And we were just saying here this morning, when we were cutting up the pussy willow, do you see how easy the pussy willow goes into the frame? So you could just, if anybody can get loads and loads of pussy willow, you could just go along and you could just stick it, you see, like loads and loads of it, you know that way. I'm going to add it in with the foliage, but it's just a little tip or a little hint, you know that way, is that you could just stick the material directly into your moss frame. So the table is filthy here, you know that way, and I don't want to get too dirty. But I'm going to be taking off these clothes anyway to go to the gym.
They're actually saying that you look very summery today, Janette.
Absolutely. As I said, the sun was shining, and there about 2 weeks ago I said, that's it, I'm taking off the black jeans and I'm taking off the black boots, you know that way. So I'm into my white jean wardrobe now, so I don't care if it's piss and rain every day, I'm wearing the white jeans, you know that way. You just kind of have to make a little bit of stance, don't you? Now with the greenery, as I said, Deirdre went out to the garden and she just cut branches and branches, randomly foliage, and what we did was we dunked it in water. That was to drown all the spiders that was on it and all the little flies or whatever, and then we took it out, cut it into little pieces, and using the real wire. So I'm just going to undo the wire because I have all this done just to save a little bit of time, okay? So basically what we did then was we just kind of like randomly picked up a bit of that greenery and a bit of that greenery and a bit of that greenery and a bit of that greenery, and just we even have a little bit of escalonia there. So just basically made little bunches of greenery, okay? Get your roll of real wire, that's included in the kit, okay? Pinch or hold it with your thumb at the bottom and just wrap the wire around about 4 or 5 times, you see, like that, and cut it back off again. And it works out less expensive than using a florist wire, and there's tons on them rolls of real wire. So there's all the bunches made up. Now I counted the bunches, so I've 33 bunches, so I've absolutely loads of them. Now as I said, I want to make 2 of these rings, okay? There's 3 in the pack that I send you, but I want to make 2 of them. And this one I'm going to make quite large, but the other one I want to make quite small. So how I do that, so I'm not using a smaller wreath frame, I'm using the exact same wreath frame that I'm sending out to you, right? But if you want to make your wreath frame smaller, as in when it's made up, you keep all the material directly onto the frame. Do you see, in that sort of a shape, okay? I obviously have one done, do you know that way? And I'll show it to you later on. But you see the way them 3 bunches are kind of going around, you see, directly onto the frame. And that's how you will keep it, that it's just a 12-inch frame, because they are 12-inch frames to start off with. But I want to make this one much larger. So to make the frame larger, instead of placing the material directly onto the moss, I'm going to place it on an angle. So when I show you the back of it, can you see how much it's coming off the frame? So I'm definitely adding another 3 to 4 inches all the way around, you know, that way. So if this was a 12-inch and I come out 3 inches, it's basically 6 inches extra. So this wreath frame will turn out about 18 inches approximately. Apologies for anyone who doesn't know what an inch is. Go and Google it, because I'm not great on centimetres.
Just the connection on Facebook seems to be coming and going a little bit for some reason.
Sorry
we are over on YouTube and we're over on Instagram. So if you're watching on Facebook and it is starting to glitch a little bit, I don't know what's happening there, hop over to YouTube or to...
Sun.
It's the sun.
The Wi-Fi hasn't a clue what's happening because it's not raining. Okay, so to attach your material on, so you make all your greenery up into little bunches. Now, if you were doing a lot of these, you'd get away without bunching them up, you know, that way, and you could just bunch them up as you go along. But you will find like it's easier and less messy, and then you'd have all your bunches spread out on the table. So again, back to the real wire, we need to attach the real wire onto the frame. So all I do is I hold it with my thumb at the back, okay? I wrap it around the same spot about 3 or 4 times. So there's a second, there's a third, there's a fourth, and there it is. The real wire is caught, you see, onto the frame. So there's no knots, there's no twisting, there's no nothing. That's how it gets cut on. So then, like the way I showed you how to position the foliage, you start off with your first piece of greenery and you place it on roughly a 45-degree angle. And ever so often I'm just going to pick up a little bit of the pussy willow, rest it on top of that bunch. Now just at the end where I'm holding it onto the frame, I'm getting my real wire and I'm going to go around it 3 times. So a haim, a doe, a 3. That's the only bit of Irish I know, by the way.
Kirsty says this is how she trained to do wreaths 22 years ago. Nice to see old school
exactly
ways.
The same,
yeah, it hasn't went away. Hasn't went
the
away.
The only thing is, if I was probably doing it myself, I'd cut up all the greenery and I wouldn't wire them into the bunches. I just would have it all on the table and I'd pick up a little bit of everything, lay it onto the frame and wire it on. Do you know that way? But when you're demonstrating kind of live and then things might go wrong, it just makes it easier to have them kind of wired up. And for lots of people here that are pure beginners, you know that way, and only starting off, that's the simplest way to do it. So when you've wrapped it around about 3 times, kind of pull your wire, your roll of real wire, slightly away from that bunch. Like, don't keep it right over there beside it. Just pull it on an angle, like, you know what I mean? Just slightly away. Because what you're then going to do is pick up the second bunch, okay? And it's going to rest beside it on a 45-degree angle, slightly overlapping, like such, you know that way. So again, just kind of hold
just
that there.
Again, Facebook it's just acting up. It just keeps saying it's going to end it and then it's coming back. If you're watching on Facebook, hop over to either Instagram or YouTube, and we're live over there too. I don't know what's going on with Facebook. Yeah.
So there we go. Do you see with our second bunch resting in? Placing it down on the table, pick up 1 or 2 bunches, or not bunches, little stems of your pussy willow. That one's a little bit long, we'll just cut it off. So pick up 1 or 2 little bits of the pussy willow, 3 if you want to, you know that way. Hold it in place with your hand, and again, on the end of the stems, you go around there with your real wire. about 3 times. So there's the second time, there's the third time, and the trick is pull over to the sides there a little bit. And then you take up your third bunch. And again, all my bunches are slightly different. And that's because Deirdre got a great selection of photographs, a great selection of foliages this morning. Do you know that way when she's out there picking? So the more selections you have, the nicer they are.
Suzanne said there's a much better reception on Instagram than there is on Facebook.
Hop over to Instagram, everybody. Case Flower School, you'll find us over there. Or YouTube.
And somebody on YouTube is asking, just asked a question there. How do they watch this again to recap? It'll actually stay on YouTube.
Okay.
So it'll stay on YouTube.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel, and again, just for anybody that's watching there, subscribe to the YouTube channel because every week we upload a new video. So you'll automatically get a little notification to say Case Flower School has uploaded a new video, and then you'll be able to keep up to date. Now, I have about 4 bunches onto my frame so far, and can you see in here, this is where they're all cut on. So to make your door wreath, I have an itchy nose, it must be the spiders. Okay? So to make your door wreath a little bit chunkier, if you now get another bunch of foliage and kind of catch it in there, do you see into that area there? It kind of covers the mechanics and it makes it look much, much nicer, okay? Now again, when I add in the bunch, I'm just going to add in 1 or 2 or 3 little bits of the pussy willow on top of it. And the same idea, the real wire then wraps around them stems. Just need to hold that on. And again, I pull the real wire outwards on an angle and I get my next bunch and I'm back to the 45-degree angle. And then I'm adding in little pieces of the pussy willow. Now again, anybody has any questions at all, post them in the comments. Deirdre will call them out to me, either she'll answer or I'll answer, and if we don't know the answer, we'll pretend we didn't see the question. Isn't that what we do here?
That's exactly what we do. Louise asked, do you learn how to do door wreaths on Module 1? She's doing Module 1 in May.
You don't. And the reason why, who was it, Michelle?
Louise.
The reason why you don't, Louise, is you're learning it here. Do you know that way? And if you go to our YouTube channel, I have tons and tons of free videos making lots and lots of door wreaths. And when you're on the Module 1, just ask us real nice, Janette, have you got a little video showing how to make door wreaths? We've loads of little free courses. So when you're on our modules, on our module programs, you get loads of extra bonuses. So like our students at the moment, they're able, if they want to, get access to our spring program. So where we have like a spring program showing Easter arrangements and spring arrangements, you know the way, and again, anybody that wants to do it. So as we always say here at the school, we are the course that keeps on giving, you know that way. We don't just do a course, we don't forget about you, and like, just because you've done a course and you're finished, like that isn't how it works here at Case Flower School. So all our students, you know what I mean, when they train with us, so once they've completed all their training, they graduate into our Bloom Studio. And over in our Bloom Studio, they get access to lots and lots of free courses as well. And I'm not sure some of you realise, but we bring in lots of guest speakers, you know that way, to our students. So whether, like say yesterday, we had a girl from the UK, Rachel from the Botanical Hub, and she did a course on Instagram, very simple course, you know that way, with them. But what she got the students to do was they gave her the link to their Instagram page, and she basically, what would you say? Audited, that's the word I'm looking for. She done an audit and told them what they'd done wrong and what they did right. Now it was a very quick one because obviously it was live. But you can actually pay, somebody might tag Rachel in the Botanical Hub for me, the Botanical Hub. You can actually pay Rachel to do a full audit on your page, you know the way. And sure, I thought my Instagram page was great, sure I thought it was great anyway. And she done an audit on my page and she sends you back the full report. And when she sent it back, the amount of things that was wrong, do you know the way, or that I had forgotten to do you know what I mean? So it's definitely a good idea. Now yesterday was kind of like very quick because she done it on a couple of the students' page. So definitely wasn't as in-depth. But like we learned loads, didn't we?
We did, absolutely.
About like
and
archiving and...
If you're watching Rachel, I implemented a lot of it last night as well.
Perfect. What you do, I must give you my login and you must do mine.
Melanie wants to know, can you use straw instead of moss, Janette?
Absolutely. Were you not here at the beginning, Melanie? Maybe you're watching on Facebook with the glitching. So I was was saying that at the beginning, that yeah, absolutely you could use moss. And what I've got Sinead to post the link of doing the base using the moss. So maybe Sinead, you wouldn't mind maybe just posting them links again, because Melanie must have been in bed and she missed that. So again, for anybody that's just joined us, okay, in the comments now, probably at this particular moment, there will be a link there how to moss up a frame, because at the beginning I did it kind of like fairly quick because I had one in the oven.
And somebody on Instagram is looking about where to buy the rings. So if you go into the link on our bio, you'll see our website link, and if you click on Floral Sundries, that's where you'll get the
and
link.
if you're watching on Facebook, the link to buy the kit buy the kit is in the comments below. The link how to moss up the frames is in the comments below, and the link to straw up the frame is in the comments below. And if there's anything else, any other questions you have, just ask, because Sinead, our virtual assistant, will add all the
same thing. If you're watching this on Instagram and you can't see the links, just drop us a DM and we'll send you the link through DM. Angela said that she done her Instagram last night as well, because she was watching it.
Yours was one of the ones she kind of used as an example on the page.
Yeah.
And it's amazing the amount of things that you've missed. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I hadn't filled in my bio on Instagram, you know, that way. And again, that was one of the things, like, Rachel came back to me and she said, like, the most important thing on your Instagram page, your bio, and you hadn't got it filled in, do you know, that way. And then keywords.
And have you got it filled in now?
No, I haven't got it filled in now. Sorry, Rachel. I haven't had a feckin' minute. It's just been mental here, you know, that way lately. So again, I'm still working my way around this frame, adding the greenery and the pussy willow in at the 45-degree angles, and then ever so often I add like a little bunch kind of into the middle of the frame, which I kind of feel always makes them a little bit chunkier, and also hides your mechanics so that nobody can see all the bits of wires, etc.
Louise says she's delighted for to be able to get the free courses on Module 1 and she can't wait to start.
Are you on the Module 1 on the 18th of May?
The 18th of May she's on, yeah.
So the 18th of May is our next Module 1. For anybody listening or wondering, it's a 4-week online programme. Some of the girls that are probably watching now, Louise, are on the Module 1 at the moment. So they might put a comment below and let us know what it's like, you know what I mean, how narky I can be when you do anything wrong. I'm only slagging, by the way. Well, hopefully I'm only slagging. Hope none of them say that. We have like a kind of a special 1-to-1. So when you enroll with us, Louise, the first day of the course, I will give you a complete unique WhatsApp number that you will have contact with me every day, 9:30 till 3:30. So any questions that you have, and if you feel a bit thick and you don't want to post a question out in front of anybody else, you can ask me the question. I'm a devil for voice messaging, so you get used to me. Another way, I voice message you back with the reply. You can make a flower arrangement step by step. You can send me the photographs. You can send me a video of it. And again, I'll give you critique, help, support. Could give out to you, you know, that way. And that's all done in the WhatsApp group, so nobody else knows it. You know, sometimes when you're on a class, and obviously you're going to get corrected, like that's part of doing a course. But when you're on a course and you're getting corrected, you'll be maybe a little bit embarrassed about it. You won't be embarrassed because only me and you, and what happens in the WhatsApp group stays in the WhatsApp group. So even if we have a falling out, Louise, you know, the way nobody else will know about it. You won't.
Noreen is watching in and she says she's counting the days until May. Noreen is our scholarship winner.
Oh, brilliant! Yeah, congratulations.
And Flowers by Emma Rose says, can you add broom to the door wreath or will it dry out too quick?
I don't know when the stems of it will dry out, but I say the flower heads could fall
droop,
off.
yeah.
You know, I can't
You could
see
probably
the flower part lasting.
maybe try it in, if you wanted it for a day, is to put it into a hydration unit for a day beforehand and then try it, but I can't see it lasting more than a day.
The hydration unit that we teach you on Module 3, like that can be a great asset, you know, that way for anything that you kind of find is not a great laster. Use the hydration unit on it first. If anybody's watching and wondering about the hydration unit, we have a video on that on YouTube as well. Now, I don't know whether Sinead will find that handy, you know.
Yeah, no, because we didn't tell her about that.
Because I always give Sinead advance notice about what may come up, you know, that way during the class. Well, listen, just follow us on YouTube, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you'll get all the information there. So again,
Audrey wants to know, Janette, can she get funding for Module 1? That she'd love to do it, but she's not working.
Normally they don't for Module 1. In the past they
But she's
did.
unemployed. She's
Oh,
not
you're
working,
unemployed?
yeah.
All right, if you're unemployed, yeah, you'll get €1,000, you will. So drop us an email and I'll give you all the information on that and how to go about it. So anybody that's unemployed or claiming any sort of social welfare payment, like carers allowance, disability allowance, widow's allowance, I don't know, any social welfare payment, you're probably entitled to €1,000, and we're on their accredited list. So drop us an email, info@flowerschoolireland.com, and I'll send it all on to you because it's too hard to explain here.
Maggie May, just very quickly, Maggie May Flowers in Rush says, if anyone is thinking of doing a course and is on the fence, jump off it now and book on. The best thing I've ever done. Module 1, 2 and 4 done, and Module 3 in May. The girls are epic.
Brilliant. Thanks a million. That's Deirdre Flynn.
Oh, is
and
it?
she has
Alright.
a gorgeous page set up on Instagram and also on Facebook. So she might tag herself, or where you can see the word Maggie May. If you click, I don't know where she got the name Maggie May, by the way.
Yeah.
But if you click on that, it'll bring you to her Facebook page. Follow her page. She's on module 4 with me at the moment, and you'll see some of the amazing, like it's hotel and event work, so topiary trees, unity candles, table garlands, candelabras, loads more. That's all being covered on module 4 at the moment, and Deirdre Maggie May is on that course. So you'll see all them photographs on her page. So pop over, follow her page, and obviously give her a little bit of a comment. Now, while I was talking there, I ran out of the end of the reel wire, so I just added on another roll. Do you know the way it's not a big deal? Now, I'm nearly just at the last part. Can you see in here where we need the last part, right? And just to show you at the back, remember I said it was a 12-inch frame, but I said it's going to turn out about 18, probably not far off 20 inches, you know that way, where it is going to turn out a lot bigger. And that's all to do with the angle. Everything is in the angle. All the women know that. Everything is in the angle. Wink, wink, okay? So by placing the footage on that 45-degree angle, I was able to make it so much bigger. And I'll count what's left over, and I'll be able to tell you exactly how many pieces I used. Now, if you're doing it, give yourself a little bit extra, you know that way, because maybe you mightn't space it out as well. When you come to the very last piece, what happens is, if you keep placing everything on a 45-degree angle, when you get to the last piece, there'll always be that gap, you know that way. So the trick is, when you get to the very last piece, is to place it in straight, okay? So it goes into the frame straight. But when you go to add the wire around it, I'm adding in a few of the pussy willows as well, you don't want to flatten it down. So people just slag me, but I call it the wiggle and the wangle. So what I'm doing is I'm wiggling and wangling the wire in through the material to wrap it around so that I'm not flattening it down. Do you know the way? So if you just wrapped the wire around that directly, you'd flatten everything down. So a little bit of wiggling and wangling, and I just feel I could get one more in there. So again, I'm just sliding it in. I'm just going to add a little bit of our pussy willows. We've just done really well on that pussy willow, Deirdre, I have to say. She must have measured it out to the last. So just adding in a few more little sprigs. And again with the wire, I don't want to flatten that down. Do you see the way? So I'm wiggling it in and out between the branches and the leaves, catching it around the end, pulling the wire nice and tight. Get in there. There we go. And again, another little bit of wiggling and wangling. Do you know that way? So in and out, in and out, in and out. Get out of the fucking way there. Wrap it around. And then finally what I do is at the back there, pull that wire nice and tight, cut off the wire, and the little bit of surplus wire that's left over, make a little hook and slide it down into the frame. So that there is your wreath frame, made on your, that's just a spare bit, that's just made onto your wreath frame. I'll count how many I have left over. 1, 4, 5, 6, 7. I had 7 bunches left over out of 33.
Yeah, so
who's great at the maths?
27.
27, you know, the way 28 pieces, roughly, you know what I mean, is what it's going to use. And I'm just giving that one a little bit of a hair trim.
And Deirdre said, Maggie May, she always said if she had a 6th baby, she would call it Maggie May after 2 amazing ladies, her gran and her cousin.
Lovely.
What a journey the training has been.
That's
amazing.
brilliant. I meant to ask you that.
So her
Deirdre.
business is her 6th baby.
And it will be, I tell you, it'll break your heart. Give you lots of pleasure and lots of love, but break your heart as well, like any kid. So again, if you have any spare bits of the pussy willow, you'll be able to kind of force them down there and they'll go down into the moss, you know that way. So this is what our frame looks like so far. Now, as I said, you could do a second one, and that's what I did. So I've one in the oven already, so just move my material. Sorry. So, but this one, do you remember at the very beginning, believe it or not, this is on the exact same frame. So there you can see at the back. They're both made on exactly the same frame. But this one, I kept the material placed directly onto it. So do you see the way it turned out much smaller? And I probably only used 12 or 15 bunches on that, you know that way. But it is amazing. So if somebody is living in a small house, like a mini house, you know that way, Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs house, you could make a small single door wreath for your door. And then anybody that lives in a mansion, because they're all posh ones here.
Oh, they're all posh ones,
so
yeah.
anyone that lives in a mansion, you can make a bigger one. But what I want to show show you today is how to make a double, because I say there's some real posh
Oh, very
knockers on
much
this
so.
basket.
Yeah, yeah.
And again, like, remember, it's not, if you're able to get the foliage, you know, that way, it's cost us absolutely nothing but the actual wire frame. The moss, the shop, that was a free shop that we went to.
That was a free shop, yeah,
It was a free shop in Wexford, okay?
Yeah.
And so the moss cost us nothing, and anybody that's from the country, you'll be able to get straw probably for nothing as well. The pussy willow, we obviously did buy the pussy willow, but you didn't have to put it in. It was just, when we're talking about spring wreaths, I thought it would look nice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place them upside down on the table. I'm going to get my roll of organza. So in the kit that we send out to you, we send out a full roll of the organza. There's 25 meters on the roll, so you'll have absolutely tons of it, okay? And the great thing about this mossy green colour, it's an all year round colour. Like, I've used this at autumn, I've used it at Christmas, I've used it in the summer, I can use it for wedding door wreaths. It's a very kind of like neutral sort of colour. It'll always get you out of a hole. And you can use it for other things as well, not just for what I'm teaching you. And it's cheaper to send out the whole roll than it is to send out a couple of meters of it. So there's 25 meters on the roll. So you break off, haven't a clue, I'm not great at measuring. So you just cut off whatever length you want. Okay, it's going to fall on the table there. I'm going to hook it in under the two frames, okay? And I'm going to tie a knot, and I probably should have gave myself a bit extra. But there's a bit of stretch on this, okay? So I'm literally going to tie a knot, and then another knot, so a double knot, okay? And pull it exceptionally tight. So pull that really tight, and I'm going to cut off the remnants. So at the back there, you can see like they're pulled fairly tight together. But when I let them go, you'll see there, and it will with the weight, you know, there'll be a little bit of stretch. Okay, there wasn't as much stretch as I thought, but still,
it's actually nice
still
close
looks
together.
grand,
Yeah.
But you could leave the gap, you know, that way.
If the number of your house was 8, it'd be perfect.
Yeah, wouldn't it? Like two little, no, it's not two little ducks.
No.
Two fat women.
Two fat women.
Me and you.
Yeah.
Two fat women, 88, clickety click. What is it that they say in bingo? Now, for decorating it kind of for Easter, okay, so I'm just going to push all this greenery out the way. Again, we still have that magic bin, you know, that way that gathers up all our rubbish. So these are a couple of little chickens and eggs, okay, catching it on the blinds. Sorry if I'm off the camera there for a second. So these are little items, nests, and we picked these up in Evergreen Silk Plants. So Charlie from Evergreen Silk Plants has a full range of these in for Easter. So get on to him and he'll be able to help you out. So this one is really nice. It even has an egg in it, you know, that way. So I'm going to attempt cutting it, okay? So normally with these stems, there's a big thick wire on the inside. And you can see there, as strong as these scissors are, they're not cutting through, right? So I've cut through the plastic and I'm kind of gnawing at it, right? And I'm hoping this will work because this is live. So normally it is working. Normally if you break it and then break it the other way, you'd think I was Strongbow. Okay, there's a tiny bit there. Do you see how easy that is? Now, there's no way you'll cut that with the scissors. I'm telling you, you'll wreck the scissors, right? So if you are doing it at home, cut the plastic on the outside, gnaw the wire, and then bend it. You know what I mean? And I swear to God, I don't have another one to show you, but it didn't take any strength at all. So what I'm going to do in the bottom ring, you'll see this when I hold it up in the air. But in the bottom ring, at the bottom, okay, I'm going to stick our little nest. So I'm actually forcing that thick stem, get in there, you fecker, down into the moss, okay, that when it's hanging on the door, can you see the way the little egg is down there? Now, there has to be a mammy down there as well. So these little ones have, I'd say that's the mammy, or is that
I'd say so, yeah.
I'd say
well, God love her if she gave birth to that egg, I'd say that.
I'd say she's a sore arse, she has. So again, we're going to do the same thing, you know. Now, he has loads of other ones, you know, so obviously go on and maybe look for a bigger mammy to balance with that egg, okay? So again, we're going to stick that in there. Go on, get in there. Again, just forcing it down through the moss. Will we put a daddy in as well?
I should put a daddy in.
These are a divorced couple. They have two separate homes, you know, like they just met up, done the deed, laid the egg, you know that way. And I think actually the egg might be gone into a home, it is, because that's in a separate little home as well. It's all just kind of a gimmick, you know that way. Again, to have on your door there, to see your little chickens and your little eggs down the bottom. And we don't want to forget about the one up the top, you know that way. This is a lone parent. She's no partner.
No.
No egg.
No egg.
No egg. She's all on her own, she is. You know that way? So we're going to stick her up there. Could be a him, by the way. Could be a deserted husband. So he's up there on his own in that little nest. So it's just kind of showing you how you can add these kind of like little gimmicks, you know, into your door wreath. And the thing is, if you have kids in the house, they will love it. Now check out the walk around shops. Like, you know, Deals and what's all them other places. Pound shops and so on. And again, you could pick up little chickens and eggs and so on. But these are little sunflowers. Do you remember the week I done the Ukraine flower crowns? These are the same bunches, you know what I mean, that I used. Part of the bunch, there's a nice kind of like small little bunch of sunflowers. So I'm just going to cut off 2 of these. There we go. I'm going to put a wire on either end of them. Now in the kit that I send out to you, I will send out a bunch of these 20 gauge wires. So if there's anything that you can't get into the frame, you'll be able to wire it. So basically I'm doing a hook, wrapping it around. So do you see where there's a wire then on the end of the stem? So I'm just going to slide this in here. So it's a flowery house that they have, Deirdre.
It's a flowery house.
So we're going to stick this in here, right? Just to give a little bit of flower kind of down there. Now the wire that came out the other end, I actually can't find it. I should be able to feel it with my hand, but I can't. I think I have, yeah, I found it. And what I'm doing is, you can probably say she's lying, but no, I have found it. I'm making a little hook and I'm sticking it back up into the frame. And I'm going to do the same with this one, have a wire.
Poets Garden, Janette on Instagram wants to know how long will the door wreath last?
I swear to God, Paul, I did one of these about 6 weeks ago, end of February, way before March there. And I did it in artificial hydrangeas. So if you went back through our videos, you'll find it. And they're kind of like a dusty pink silk hydrangea I put onto it. And again, it was all foliage from Deirdre's garden. And it's still hanging on my door. And it looks 100%. It has just dried out. Now, not dried out like dried flowers. It was on a moss frame as well. And the moss has just dried out. So there's no weight in it at all. And it looks spectacular. And I'm not messing. Do you know that way? It really looks gorgeous. I won't be able to bring this one home to replace it. We've got a new postman in Rialto. Now he said he's going to follow me, so he might be watching. And his name is Rory. And you know what? He's the best postman ever. Because obviously I'm in work, you know that way, and parcels come to the house and you can't get them through the letterbox. And he walks across the road and brings them over to us. He's a little pet. So he was here a while ago delivering a parcel, and I said, you know what, come back in an hour, and I says, I'll have a little door wreath for you, you know that way. So his name is Rory, in case Rory is watching, a big hello. And you know, like nowadays, in saying that, the other postman, in case he's watching and he gets jealous, Gavin is our normal postman, and he's lovely too, but we never got the personal service off him, did we?
No.
Hint, hint, Gavin, when you come back. Here, Gavin is out on the sick at the moment. So when you come back, Gavin, we would like a personal delivery service.
Yeah.
And you too could get a door wreath for your door. So that's what I'm actually going to do with this.
Eileen Dempsey says her door wreath lasted from November till February on the door. Yeah, they do. They last.
They last.
Do you know, I actually get bored with it before it dies.
Yeah.
I'm ready for a new one, you know.
So again, I'm just adding a few more of these kind of sunflowers into the end of it. Now again, you don't have to add them in. Do you know that sort of way? It's just to give a little bit of detail kind of in the bottom, and just for seeing that they're living separate lives, these two birds, you know, that way, just to kind of give them something a bit different. I also have like little bits of these, do you know that way? And again, I used them when I was making the flower crowns. So using your 20 gauge wires, just hook it around the end, wrap it around, and again, you can stick them just down into the base. You could need a chance trying to stick them down into the base on their own, do you know that way? And they'll probably go in as well, just to put a little bit of purple down there. And again, we'll cut this one, just to kind of show you. Again, just stab it down into the moss, do you know that way? And
the moss is great. It's easier than the straw, I think, to get stuff in through. Yeah.
But with the straw, the wires will definitely go through the straw, do you know that way? So, and these are 20 gauge wires, so they're heavier wires, and that's what we include in the kit. So again, just a little few. Probably stop now, will I, Deirdre?
I think so, yeah. Maybe put a couple up the top that the one on its own is not
lonely.
lonely.
The lone parent, yeah. Deserted husband, that's up here on his own. So we give him a few little flowers as well. And what I'm doing with the artificial is I'm just kind of pushing it up the stem to keep all the flowers together. If somebody could tag Evergreen Silk.
He was watching there earlier on. I saw him on.
Charlie. Stick up your link there, you know that way.
And just while we still have people on, if you don't mind sharing this video, we'd be absolutely delighted. We haven't said it all along.
No, and we normally just say we must be slowing up, Deirdre.
Yeah.
So if you click share, share it to your own page would be brilliant. So again, that person that said they'd like to watch it on the replay, you can watch it later on. But also, if you happen to be in maybe a group, you know, like a flower group.
He's
or a
still
flower
around, he
arrangement
says. I'm
society,
still around.
is I'd love if you shared it into your flower arranging group or your flower arranging society that you happen to be a member of, because hopefully some of them might enjoy to watch this. So just put a little bit of purple and a little bit of yellow into the end of that. How are we going?
Oh,
there?
that's gorgeous. Yeah,
So
that's
there,
lovely.
does it need a bow?
I don't think so. No, just drop it down a tiny little bit. Yeah, perfect.
There
Yeah,
we go.
yeah.
And then the last thing is I'll make a hook at the top of it for hanging on the door. So back to our green ribbon, which is falling on the floor. Okay. And again, it depends on where your knocker is. Now, obviously, if you're going to do a double one like I have, you need to have the knocker up high. Or the handiest thing is get a nail on the inside of your door, or a hook, you know, like a brass kind of coat hook or whatever. And have that on the inside of the door. Hook the ribbon on the inside of the door, let it overlap to the outside, and that's the best way to hang them. So again, with a ribbon, we're going to bring that around to the top ring, and you can let it show, or you can kind of like hook it in between or push it in underneath the greenery. I'll show you now what I mean. Do you see the way I kind of brought the two down? I'm catching my blouse and all into it. So again, bring the two ribbons together. I'm going to tie a double knot, push them through. Now you can leave this longer, it depends on how high up your knockers are. How high is your knockers, Deirdre?
Oh, mine are very high.
So we pull that really tight. I'm going to trim the little surplus bit off my knot. I'm going to wind the ribbon back that the knot now is hidden at the back of the wreath. And I don't have enough space on the table and my arms are not long enough. But can you see the idea of making our double door wreath? So yesterday I called it double trouble bubble, or double bubble trouble, do you know that way? So I hope you enjoyed that class, you know, that way. Loved a little bit of feedback, loved a few comments. Definitely would appreciate a few shares, you know, that way. And again, if you're watching this on the replay, again, we'd appreciate shares. If anybody has any inquiries at all about any of the courses here at Case Flower School, or training, or funding grants, whether it's social welfare grants, and there's grants there for people who are working as well. So if you're working or you're self-employed, you may not realise that you could be entitled to a grant as well. Handiest thing is drop us an email and the girls can forward on all the information to you. info@flowerschoolisland.com. Anybody got any hot tips for the horse racing tonight? I have one. But we better not give it out.
Ah, go on. You can't say that now.
Okay, he's 12 to 1 at the moment. Oh, Captain Guinness, he's running later on. My husband will kill me. If he loses, don't come back to me, by the way.
Don't bet heavy on him.
Don't bet heavy. Everybody go and put a fiver on him, okay? Captain Guinness, not sure what time the race is at today.
I think it's 3 o'clock or something.
You might be able to buy the re-kit of your winnings. Again, if anybody has any questions, post them in the comments.
And any tips for the Grand National tomorrow?
Any tips for the Grand National tomorrow? Yeah, I've none for that yet, but forget when I'll come back to you. The link is in the comments to buy the kit so that you can make your own door wreath. So there's 3 of them rings. There's a whole roll of the organza. There's a roll of the real wire, and there's a bunch of the 20 gauge wires, and I can get them in the post to you today.
A couple of people on Instagram are looking for the links. If you go into our bio, you'll get the link to the website, and then just click on Floral Sundries. And the link is there. Or just message, PM us, and I'll send you the link. Yeah, exactly.
So huge thanks. Happy Friday, everyone. Have a fantastic evening. Have a beautiful weekend. And we'll see you all back here next week at some stage. Toodaloo. Bye-bye. See you all.